Hi everybody, welcome out to the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yee, and today I'm doing a rapid fire roundup. Haven't done one of these in a while. This is where I take a look at 10, 12, I don't remember how. So games that some of them have been reviewed by others on the channel, and I haven't shared my thoughts on them, and I've played them, and I want to talk about them a bit. Some of these are games that are not getting a full review on the channel for one reason or another. One of these is a really old game. It's an really old game I finally got around to playing, and I wanted to talk about. So let's go ahead and get started. First off, Tag Team. This is a little dueling game here from Scorpion Masqué. It was reviewed very favorably by the others who were in that one. And I also got around to trying to play this. And holy smokes, this is a really good, clever, clean, sweet, smooth little game, right? Lots of adjectives, lots of positive ones. You have two characters. They come with some cards, and you do a little bit of that smash up type of feel, or you mix the two cards or the two decks of cards for your team together, and you do this duel. But the way that it does it in sort of an auto battler type thing, where you create a deck and you just flip through it. You don't have any choices to make after you create that deck. But it starts off with just two cards, the two starting cards of each character. And then you draw three cards of your mixed combined deck, and you put one of them either on top, in between, or below. And then you go through and you flip them again. And you just keep doing that. You add a new card in on the top, between any two cards, or on the bottom. So you never get to rearrange or shift or change your deck. And yet, that gives me enough good choices, and it's fun to see how things react when I expect my opponent to zig when they zag instead. And this is really fun. It gives me a stronger sense of control than even the game Challengers did. And it's also quicker and smoother, and just has more fun moments. Everyone has different powers that feel unique and feel fresh. Some people have different health tracks, where as you beat them up, they get little benefits or boons, or they have a really short track, but they almost take no damage. Or they have a really long track, and they have few little specialties to them. They just have a really long health track. So anyway, I think this is really cool. Leads to some nice decisions. I'm giving Tag Team an 8. I think that this is an incredibly playable and replayable game. My biggest downside maybe is that the rulebook looks more intimidating than the actual game is. But anyway, Tag Team an 8. I think a really solid game. Next up, Nature. This is an iteration on the Evolution game system. Evolution, multiple versions of Evolution, Oceans, and then Nature. This is, in some ways, the most developed and smoothest version of it, and in other ways, I would argue, one of the clunkiest versions of it. It also is not a terribly satisfying base box, and it says, make sure to add in one of the module boxes that you can buy. And I find that the basic game in there is not terribly fun, and actually comes in this very the steps of each turn are difficult to explain to people. So what should be a game system that should grab people and make them say, "Ooh, I want to play with dinosaurs. Ooh, I want to play with birds. Ooh, I want to play with all these other cool modules that they sell later." The basic box didn't grasp me, and what really sold for me that I didn't enjoy this one that much was trying to teach it, and trying to teach the steps, and when things are sort of simultaneous and when they're not, and everything. I'm giving Nature a 5 out of 10. Maybe I will like it more if I play with some of the other things, but as just a basic box, it doesn't sell me on the entire product line. Next up, Above and Below, Haunted. This is the first version of Above and Below that I've played. In fact, I have not played Above and Below, nor Near and Far, nor Now and Never, nor Mike and Ike. So these are, I've heard so much good about these game systems. And you know what? I really like Above and Below. Haunted. I think that it's fun. It has this cool little sense of exploration. You get to read story entries, and you get to make little checks, and sometimes you get keywords. I like that you can get a unique card from this treasure delving deck of cards that you and only you have. But there is a really solid engine building game below it, your town building game, and you get more workers and you recruit them and they let you build more buildings or go on explorations and stuff. I think that this is all around a very pleasant game. I was worried that the ghosts were going to feel like a negative attack, but no, they maintain a little bit of pressure without feeling too negative. So this is a pleasant game all around, and yet has some cool choices and has some cool story, world to it. So 7.5 for me. I like this one. I can definitely recommend it. Next up, Seers Catalog. This is the Bezier Games kind of reworking of What's Left is the original name of the game. Of What's Left. A card shedding game where you don't want to shed out your cards, right? Normally I can play a higher card or a higher pair or suited run of cards. You're trying to, typically in these card games, empty your hand of cards first. Well, in this one, you don't want to empty your hand. You want to hold preferably just one or very few high-value cards at the end, because it has this really unique scoring where someone's going to empty their hand. Someone's forced to go out. Ha-ha! I have a 10 and an 8 left in hand. Well, I score points equal to the lower value card, the 8, minus 1 point for every card I'm still holding, the 2 cards. So I will score 6 points that round. You scored 0. This person scored negative. Ha-ha-ha! And you play a few rounds. I love the original. I really enjoy this game still. I'm giving it a very strong score of an 8. I would say, though, the biggest downside for me is the fact that compared to the original, this has so many artifact specialty cards that it kind of bogs down the teach and the play experience. And so what I do is I just, instead of using a complete random shuffle of all the artifacts that are in there, I just say, hey, here's 3 or 4 very simple artifacts. We're going to deal them out to players. That's it. And then you learn the game system, and then you can go wild, right? I think that this game needed a slight easier onboarding ramp because it is such a fun twist on a classic card game. That Big 2 or that Tichu type game of shedding out cards. Such a delightfully great twist on it. It's an 8 out of 10 with that caveat that I think it needs a simplified first game. Next up, Transgalactica. This is a Daniel Tascini game. I did not really enjoy this one. You are doing worker placement. You're putting your pieces out there. You're trying to move up on tracks, right? Daniel Tascini loves tracks. And this idea of going around exploring the different planets and building up your pool of workers and everything, I felt like this one was really overwrought. I thought that the visuals did not help, but that's not my biggest downside. My biggest downside is that this game feels really rough around the edges, like it wasn't properly manicured, it wasn't properly developed. There are so many times you move up on a track and you get a bonus. What do you get? I don't know, it kind of stinks. Well, that's too bad. Someone else moves up a track, oh, they get something better than you, right? And there's games where stuff like that happens, but there are literally, you can get these upgrade tokens that say, you get 2 points. Someone else moves along, you get 1 point. Every time you take the drill action, you get 2 points. Every time you take the drill action, you get 1 point. And for me, that's just too obvious of flubs, along with the rest of the systems not being that rewarding for the amount of effort you have to put in. And it just doesn't feel refined enough. Having just played recently Tianxia from Board and Dice, also a Daniel Tascini game, lots of tracks, a lot of the same types of notes, but that one felt like it was smoothened out better. Transgalactica feels like this is kind of like a first draft. I'm not saying that it was, but that's how I felt when playing it. I'm giving Transgalactica a 4. I didn't really care for it. I didn't find the fun of it. I didn't find the joy of it. And I especially did not like having to wrestle against these systems that didn't feel quite finished, quite there. Next up, Immortal. This is a Wolfgang Kramer and Michael Kiesling game. And it's very functionally like, is it Quirkle? Where you have to lay out tiles either in the same color or in the same, in increasing number of the same color or in different colors you can't repeat. You put these tiles out on a grid. What does it have to do with Trick or Treat Studios' graveyard theme on this one? Nothing. What do the graveyard spaces and the sepulcher spaces, what do those have to do printed on the board? Nothing. And it's just a grid. And it's just colors and numbers. And it's bad. It's unfortunately quite a bad game. It has a rule that I think is probably one of the worst, most misguided rules in there, is you can rearrange tiles, kind of like Rummy or Rummy Cube or Rummy tiles, where you can rearrange things to be able to play things out. And if you mess that up and you don't know how to put those tiles back, you've kind of broken the game. Is that a little bit of a player issue? Is that more of a game issue? It's kind of both, right? But there are times you're like, oh, sweet, I can move these things to be able to, oh, oops, I didn't like this one. That part really brings the score down, but even without that, not a good game. I'm giving Immortal a 3 out of 10. I really recommending you avoid this one. Next up, The Crew, Family Adventures. The Crew and The Crew 2, Space and Underwater, are some of my favorite games. They're so good. This is a cooperative Uno-esque game. This is a family. This is a much younger-oriented version of The Crew. I didn't really like it. I didn't feel like there was much going on at all. I felt like even jumping forward several missions at a time, the plays were pretty obvious of what to do. It wasn't engrossing. I just didn't really like this one. I thought that the change up from trick taking, I'm fine with, right? But what there actually was from playing these cards out, you play a pink 7, the next person can play any pink or any color 7. It just didn't lead to tricky, interesting card play. It didn't lead to anything that was, I felt like the missions were getting tougher or anything. They're just kind of getting longer. So I'm giving a 5 to The Crew Family Adventure. Didn't really care for it. Next up, Twinkle Twinkle. This is from our sponsor All Play, so putting that out there. But I think this is a great game. This is a tile-laying game that you build out this space map, and things score off each other. You don't want things next to each other. They all have fun little thematic things to it. Planets score one way, black holes score, but you don't want black holes near stars, or you don't want black holes near each other. And so it's just the spatial grid kind of a game. But it uses what I call, or what I always refer back to as like the king domino type of drafting, where if you can draft the front tile, and it's typically like leftover tile or not as good quality, you can go to the back tile, which in this game, certain tiles are really strong. They come out, they get pushed to the end. But whatever order you go in, that's also now your new turn order. And it's simpler than King Domino in that sense. And a couple of tiles like, this one's really strong, put it in the back. But no matter your player count, the leftover tile gets scooched to the front and the new tiles come in behind it. So it does that type of thing where the front tile is typically going to be like the less desirable. I think it does it really well. It does it really clean, really smooth. And I like that tension where you can look a row ahead. You can look at the next turn and choose what to take now versus what you want to set yourself up for in turn order. It looks really nice. I've not tried using the scoring app. I actually kind of forgot about that. Or it's not out yet or something. I think this game is really good. I'm giving this one an 8 out of 10 because I like that tile draft a lot. I really like building out the grid of stuff. Is it groundbreaking? No, but the idea of building out these constellations looks great. I think it has good competing scoring objectives, so an 8 out of 10. I also played the Twinkle Twinkle expansion called How I Wonder, and I like it, and I like that there's 5 new scoring conditions. The only downside of this is you have all those tiles mixed into a bag, and then you have a whole expansion with 5 new scoring things. The basic game only had 5, so this is 10 of them. And that's great. I love the variety in there. They all score in different ways, and some of them score off of things from the original game, and some of them work on their own and stuff. So you have to rip out one set of tiles from the basic game and throw in new ones, or for each one you want to throw in, you have to take out other ones. And that part is messy because they're all in a bag. Now, I have heard that what you can do is you can just throw in another module, and then you say, hey, we're not playing with asteroids. If we draw asteroid tiles, just set them to the side. That's probably an easier way to do it, but if you want to switch out 3 of the scoring things, then you have to say, hey, if we pull out asteroids, planets, or nebula, set those aside. So it's a good expansion, but it's messy, but I like the variety and I like the new scoring stuff. So I'm giving it a 7 just because it is kind of inconvenient. But if you're going to play this game a lot, and some people are playing it a lot, then having those extra scoring things is really cool. And it's good value to basically kind of double your game almost, right? But messy. That's the biggest drawback to it. There's also a little promo scoring thing that I played with called the Aliens, where they put out little UFOs, little cute little meeples. And money-wise, is that worth it? Not really, right? If you look at the price of this like little promo 1 extra scoring condition. But it's the cutest one. It has these little meeples. If you're a completionist, you can buy all of the stuff for this at not a bad value. But I think that's the one I would recommend least. Just $1 for fun. But it is kind of fun. So anyway, those are my thoughts on that one. So How I Wonder is 7 out of 10. Mythical Dice. This is one that's a dice-based trick-taking game. You grab dice and you put it behind your player shield there, and when you comes to your turn, you follow suit, you follow color of dice, you take the die out and you roll it. And this is the highest rolled number wins the trick, right? That's fun. The dice have different distributions and stuff. It's so random, but it's so funny at the same time. It is a riff off of one of my favorite trick-taking games, Skull King, because you have to bet at the start of the round. Hey, based on these dice I have, I bet I'll win 2 out of these 5 tricks. It's such a crapshoot. You're not really sure what you're going to get. And so that does hurt the score, right? Because I like this one, but would I really choose to play it? I don't know. I'm giving this one a 6.5 because it's a party game with a decent set of rules, right? So, yeah, I mean, I think that it's one of those things. This is a high 6.5, but I can't quite bring myself to recommend it. I like it, and I think that there's something really interesting there. So, I don't know. I would love to see a dice-based trick taker that's a little less random than this, but I like what's going on in it. So, Mythical Dice 6.5. All right. I promise you an old game, okay? So I talk about all the time how I really love the game Broom Service, and people have said to me, you got to try the original, Witch's Brew. So I finally, at Dice Tower East, did play Witch's Brew. I almost forgot about this. It's been a while since Dice Tower East. But I played Witch's Brew. This is the original card game designed by Andreas Pelikan before Alexander Pfister was brought in to co-design Broom Service, one of my all-time favorite games. Well, Witch's Brew is the same type of mechanism. When you have a hand, everyone has a handful of cards that are all the same, and you pick 5 of them that you're going to play this round, and you tuck the other ones away. And then in this fashion, someone says, "Hey, I'm going to play this card out here, right? I'm going to play this this gatherer of sorts, right?" And then everyone else who has it has to play it out in turn order, saying either they'll do the strong action or they'll do the weak action on it. But only one person, the last person to say, "I'm doing the strong version of it," gets to actually do it. And so what happens, you go around the table and you're trying to guess, ooh, do these other people have it? Are they going to take the strong action from me? Or I could take this weaker action but guarantee it. I really like that. I really enjoy it in Broom Service, and I enjoyed it in Witch's Brew. I thought, though, that with Witch's Brew being primarily a card game, there wasn't as much variety in it as I wanted. You gather potions and some stuff to fulfill little contract cards, brew little potions and stuff, and then points. I think that a lot of people said to me, like, oh, you're going to love it because it's better than Broom Service. And I kind of disagree with that. I'm glad I finally played it so I can kind of lay this to rest for myself at least. I love Broom Service because you run around that map, you deliver potions to towers. It gives a little bit more of a specific tactical feel of what you're going for, and you can kind of read the board state, and that drives what people are going to pick into their hand better, I think, than in Witch's Brew. But I could see why people might like it a little more simplified. But a 6.5 for Witch's Brew, one I enjoyed, I'm happy I played, but I get Broom Service. That's like one of my 10s. Like, I adore that game. So, anyway, an old game that I finally got around to playing. Last one. Let's move on to Star Wars Battle of Hoth. This is the Star Wars themed version of the Command and Colors system, Memoir 44, or some of the Command and Colors games. This is actually the first Command and Colors system game that I've played. Except for I did play a weird 8-player version of Battlelore at one point at the retreat a few years back, but I'm not kind of counting that because that was more of a zany, big old Overlord experience. I think that Battle of Hoth is a very neat, very fun game. I like Star Wars. I like the theme a lot. I love this moment in Empire Strikes Back, so being able to play it's great. I like having all the different scenarios in the book. I do think that it kind of really takes its time building out a lot of these scenarios where not a whole lot changes. I would have cut out, not half, but I would have cut out maybe a third of the scenarios and just left like the cream of the crop in there, because then playing one scenario to the next would feel so different and so exciting. I like the variety of troops. I like the variety of little extra tokens so you can make certain battalions have different behaviors and stuff to them, but I like chucking dice, and it's a very lucky game, very lucky game, very lucky game, but it's okay because it's still fun at the end of the day. I like the goal of just playing to a few points, and I love being able to make noises as my speeders or the walkers come by. That's great. And I also love calling them at walkers to really tick off Star Wars fans who don't think that AT-AT or at are both acceptable, because they are. I always call them AT-AT walkers. Anyway, so love the theming, love the gameplay. Even though it's lucky, I still really enjoy this game. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Not my favorite. I still love the original Risk Star Wars Edition. Stupid name. But like that's one of my favorite of this ilk of game, but that one's never coming back in print. So if you want something like that, I think that Battle of Hoth is probably your best shot. Simple, fun card play, simple dice chucking. You blow stuff up in the Star Wars universe. I like it a lot. So folks, that has been my Rapid Fire Roundup. It's a lot of games, a lot of cool discussion. But anyway, those are my thoughts on that. Tell me below what you think of any of these, of course, and what else you'd like to see me cover in the future. Thanks everyone for coming out to the Dice Tower. My name is Chris Yee. Take care.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Bassel.